The last video that I uploaded on this channel talked about what lied ahead for Jey Uso now that he no longer has the World Heavyweight Championship. And I talked about how just really super cloudy his future is. And now, obviously, we know a little bit more, considering he is going to be in the King of the Ring tournament, being the mystery man, which I think is a terrible idea, but that's a different topic for a different day. This video is going to talk about LA Knight and what lies ahead for the megastar. Before we get too far ahead in the video, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. That's all we post is WWE related content. So if you're a WWE fan, again, consider subscribing. It's free. You can always change your mind later. So, LA Knight fans have been really disappointed lately. Because not only did LA Knight lose his United States Championship, then LA Knight fans had to sit through yet another Money in the Bank ladder match, which saw LA Knight be the runner up, basically. But all is not lost for LA Knight and LA Knight fans. Because I think that LA Knight getting involved and feuding with Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins' new group, I think is actually going to really benefit LA Knight. We saw just how impactful Bronson Reed's feud with Seth Rollins was, and look at those two now. So there are definitely worse options out there for LA Knight. And him feuding with the Money in the Bank winner isn't necessarily the worst. And we just saw on Friday Night SmackDown that he is not advancing in the King of the Ring tournament because of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. But I think LA Knight is kind of starting to get to the point where he's not going to need a King of the Ring win or the Money in the Bank briefcase. As entertaining as a Money in the Bank winner, LA Knight, and a King Knight would be, I don't necessarily think he needs them. And look, even though LA Knight did lose that Money in the Bank, we got to take a look at what he's doing right now. Again, we already talked about the feud starting with Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins' new group with Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. But then if we take a look at last night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, we see LA Knight coming out to talk to John Cena, to talk to Randy Orton, to talk to Cody Rhodes. Three of WWE's biggest names that they have ever had. So to me, I think that is a very big vote of confidence for LA Knight. Because it's really starting to seem like he is in the main event scene, even though he hasn't won a Royal Rumble, a Money in the Bank, or King of the Ring. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle the Seth Rollins and LA Knight thing. Because obviously Seth Rollins carrying the briefcase is going to be a little more preoccupied with John Cena. So I could see a world in which we get LA Knight feuding with Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed or both, having to overcome them, and then eventually getting to Seth Rollins, and maybe by that point Seth Rollins has the WWE Championship. I could be totally off on that, but it's not the most impossible idea at this point. But let's just say that we don't get any of that, and John Cena is still carrying the WWE Championship. LA Knight and John Cena have some history. Let's not forget about that. Not only was John Cena a special guest referee for one of LA Knight's matches, they were also tag team partners at one point. So if you did want to go down the LA Knight John Cena rabbit hole, you could totally do it, and there is a story to build off of. So while I still don't necessarily think LA Knight is in the greatest position, I don't think he's in the worst. Because at the very least, A, he's getting screen time, which is more than Karrion Kross could say. B, he's getting paired with some of the biggest names in the WWE. Seth Rollins, John Cena, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. And we're seeing him going up against the legitimate threat of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Two guys that can absolutely hold their own against LA Knight, and two guys that have been built to be super menacing, which they already were to begin with. So yes, I understand. LA Knight fans can be very upset about him not winning the Money in the Bank briefcase this year, not winning the Royal Rumble, not winning King of the Ring, whatever the tournament may be. But at the very least, you have to acknowledge the fact that he is still being treated very good, and we're starting to see him being treated as a true main eventer in that upper echelon of the WWE superstars. And we know he can handle it because let's not forget, he had a match with Roman Reigns and very, very nearly won that thing. So I'm actually very glad to see LA Knight in this position. Again, I think I would rather him have the Money in the Bank briefcase, but I understand why they gave it to Seth Rollins. It just sucks that the last 3 years, the runner up has been LA Knight, and they've done it in a way in which it makes it look like LA Knight is going to win it, and then he ultimately doesn't. So, this is where I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about LA Knight's position right now in the WWE? Do you like how he's being booked and presented, or do you not like it? Again, personally, I'm actually pretty okay with it. Again, taking a look at some of the biggest names that WWE has to offer, LA Knight is having segments with pretty much all of them. So I definitely think that there are worse spots for him to be in. So as always, let me know that stuff down below in the comments. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in the description, and that is because it'll take you to all of the social medias for this channel. And I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling. Especially if you're like me and you don't really have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, swing by an upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, one of the upcoming PLEs, join in on the conversation, and maybe it's for you at the end of the day. With all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free and both really help out the channel a lot. And if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here. And as always, stay tuned for more WWE related content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.